I'm letting some people in as we get ready to get started in a minute or two. I see James. Welcome, James. Good to have you in the group. And I'll go ahead and also share my screen. Let me get that all set up too. I have too many screens open as usual. That's not a surprise to anybody. All right, here we go. I'm going to be able to share this. There we go, share screen. We have almost 200 people registered for this, which is so exciting. We have a lot of people listening to the replay though, which is totally fine. Not a problem. I don't want anyone to feel like they are behind. And let's see. Okay. So I have it recorded. I'm sharing my screen. So this is good. We'll go ahead and get started. And then Jarrell, what I'm going to do is just to help me, I'm going to have you be, let's see, I'm going to have you be the host. So that way, while people are coming in, you can admit them and I can focus on, let's see. So let me just do that too. I can make you the host. All right, so you are the host. Oh, actually, then it stopped my screen share. So I think you have to give me screen share ability.
Sure.
Can you do that?
Yeah. You should be able to share your screen now.
Yeah.
You should be able to do it now.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, host. All right, great. Thank you so much. All right. Hi, everyone. I am Christine Kidder-Graves, your marketing career coach, and I'm happy to be here for day 3 of our Land Your Ideal Role in 90 Days 2022 Career Plan free masterclass. Again, this is day 3. And before we get into the content of day 3, I want to encourage you to share about yourself, if you feel comfortable, in our Facebook group. That's one of the reasons why I created the Facebook group, the Career Clarity Club. And right now, not only are we on Zoom, but we are streaming to the Facebook group. What's nice about it is that you can access the resources and you can participate to the level that you're comfortable with, okay? You're not if you don't want to be super visible, you don't have to be super visible. On the other side, if you do want to be visible, if you want to comment and share, you can feel free to do that in the Facebook group. And it's different. It's a different setting than LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you are more visible if we do like a LinkedIn live event. Or even in Zoom, you can be a little bit more visible. But there's just something about the Facebook group community that I think helps in sharing information and providing support to each other. That's why I decided to create a Facebook group. I know a lot of you out there may not be super happy with Facebook, although, you know, I'm kind of mixed. Facebook has done some things in the past that aren't great. However, I still feel that there is value in having a Facebook group. So hence, that's why I still have it. Again, I want to offer you resources. I want to provide value to help you have work where it's more aligned with your purpose and where we're really increasing your impact, you know, so you really can make the difference that you want to make in the world. So anyway, comes back to this, let's use that community structure, the strength of community. Let's let's like really take advantage of it. And you can take advantage of it when you feel comfortable, if you do want to share who you are and what you'd like to get out of this masterclass too. And then if you don't feel comfortable sharing in the Facebook group, another option is for you to email me directly. You can also message me in Facebook or LinkedIn. Either one is fine. But email is often works the best. And of course, right now, if you're in this, you can shoot me a chat here. If you just want to send it to me, that works as well. All right, so what we've covered so far is day one was about reflection. And what comes out of that reflection work is more clarity. That's the result. We want to have more clarity in our brand, regardless of if we're doing a job search or not. If we are doing a job search, having that clarity in our brand makes a huge difference in our search. Just think about it. If you don't have the clarity on how you're invaluable to that hiring manager that you're interviewing with, why would they hire you? And then once you are in a great role and you're really trying to make an impact, you still need to have that clarity on how you help others so you can do well in that role. And then also too, planning for your next steps. How do you want to grow in your work? Well, that's why it's so important. That's the other piece, having clarity on at least the next step. You may not have clarity on the real big scary goal, be like Mount Everest summit. But if we can at least get you clarity on that base camp goal, base camp 1 goal, that's a good thing. All right. So that was like day 1. Day 2, yesterday, was about having a plan. And I talked about the elements of having a plan. What are the key things that you need to have a plan? If you are doing a job search or if you are not doing a job search. So again, because those are the 2 main camps of people that I talk with. All right. Today, day 3 is connecting. I love this quote from the wonderful Brene Brown. And what it is, I have to read this quote out loud to you. It's connection, the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. Think about a job that you've had. Hopefully you've had at least one position where you did feel seen, heard, and valued. I mean, did you want to leave that job? Probably not. You felt really connected to the people there and to the role, what you were doing, to the work. Brene Brown goes on to say, when they can give and receive without judgment, and they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. That's what connection is all about. And that is the magic of connection. And that's why connection is so important. And I want to stress, even though I'm covering this on day 3, it's really a step 2 that should be done with your reflection work. Life isn't linear, and my program isn't linear either. So and I'm going to show you a diagram of my program. It's part of my presentation deck here today. So I'll show you. But don't think of my program as linear. My program has 3 keys to it: reflection, plan, and connect. And it's like we're moving between the 3 more in a cycle. So it's not a straight line. It's more like a cycle going back and forth. And connection can be part of your reflection work. How do I mean that? Well, with your reflection and thinking about getting clarity on your brand, it's good to connect with those people that are on your personal board of directors and get their input. Often, and I did a YouTube video on it, and I did some LinkedIn posts on it too, I believe, and I think it's one of my top YouTube videos, released on Instagram, I think. But anyway, it is, what do people typically do? What's the first step that they think of when they decide to do a job search? People always think, I have to update my resume. That shouldn't be the first step. I want you to reach out to your personal board of directors and talk with them about what you're thinking. Bounce ideas off of them on what you're thinking. Ask them about how they would define your personal brand. What does, what do they think your brand is? And also too, what do they think the best next role is for you? Okay. So I encourage you to get their input. Now, I will say, again, these are for people who are on your personal board of directors. We all have those people in our lives who, if we share our big, scary goal with them, they're kind of like naysayers. They can be negative and they might knock it down. They're not encouraging. They're negative Nancy's. Okay. So you want to protect your goal too. You've got to be very judicious with who you are sharing it with. And if you have any hesitancy to share it with someone, don't share it with them. Okay. That's okay. All right. I don't want you to be dissuaded from pursuing your big, scary goal. However, I want you to reach out to the people that you really feel that are going to support you and encourage you and be your cheerleaders. Okay. And when you get knocked down off your horse, they're going to be right there telling you, get back up, get back on your horse. You got this. Right. We all have those people in our lives too, and we need to focus on them. They give us energy. They really are like the wind beneath our wings, essentially. So it makes me think of that song. All right. So that's what I meant with this slide. I wanted to stress that to you. We often hear the term networking. And to me, it's kind of a cold term. I think of computers, not that there's anything wrong with computers or hardware or software technology in general. It's good. But really, networking is about human connection, us really, truly connecting with each other. So that's why I like to replace it. I mean, I still use the term networking, but I prefer connecting, and I use connecting more than networking. I had to give you that definition and identify the differences for you. So connection, getting back to connecting. Why is connecting important? Well, I think I was touching upon it. I mean, it really helps you. It's very, very possible, and it's happened to me as well, to have opportunities to have work in your career that you found without doing a official job search. Okay. Again, what do I mean by that? Having to send your resume to formally apply for all these positions, having to go through all these interviews, having to do all this. The ideal situation is to be able to talk with your connections and have conversations with them, and to be able to find a role that way, to find your next step, and even to be able to find it before you start. The timing should be right. It should be a good transition for you. That is ideal. All right. That's why making connection a daily habit is a good thing to do, because it can really help you. And when you think about it, it can help you to be good in your work that you are doing. I think that the number one reason when we think of why are people on LinkedIn, everyone thinks of right away to find a job. If someone is looking for a new job, that's why they're on LinkedIn. But I think things are starting to change in terms of being better in your current role. Let's say you are an accountant, okay, and you are working in a specific industry. By you belonging to the Illinois CPA Society or the American Institute of CPAs or whatever, you can meet with other CPAs. You can also learn best practices. You can get better at your work. I mean, just by doing that and by making new connections and hearing about what other companies are doing and best practices. That's a specific example on connecting with people, not for a job search, but to get better at your work. I really want you to work on it. If you picked one action step from today, I would love it if you would make connection a daily habit, or try to do that. And in our workbook, I thought we had the 21-day challenge. So, or 30-day challenge. It's not 21. I like to go a little longer than 21. I think 21 days is the number of days to create a habit, but even if you can go a little bit longer, that's a good thing. So, so to start a new habit, and a small habit, and to try to track it for 30 days. And all you have to do is identify the habit, and then just block out 5 minutes a day to do it. And that's how small it is. But by doing it for 30 consecutive days, you have created a new habit. And that's what I want you to do. So what would this new habit be? It would be using LinkedIn. Use the LinkedIn phone app. It is the easiest thing to do. It really is. And you could, for your 5 minutes a day, you could send a message to one of your connections, right? You might be like, well, Christine, I do have a lot of connections. How do I pick which one to reach out to? Well, think about your current situation. Are you in job search mode right now? If you are in job search mode right now, then what are the positions that you're targeting? And then think about who are the hiring managers for that type of role. So if you are targeting a CFO role, then you'd want to, maybe there's CEOs that are in your connection list, your first degree connections that you haven't talked with in a while. Send one of them a message. Say, hey, how's it going? Ask them a question. Ask them how their work is going. It's always nice when you are doing connection work. I think we feel uncomfortable. We feel awkward because we're like, I'm coming from a place of need and I don't want to impose on someone. It feels awkward and uncomfortable. Flip it and ask about them. Ask how they're doing. Ask how their work is going and what they're currently working on right now. What's a current challenge that they're working on, or, just ask them about them, what's going on with them, because you're trying to look for opportunities. Maybe you can help some way. If there is an opportunity for you to help, that would be a good thing. And that's the power of connection. I also, in the workbook, is my personal connection goals sheet. And I got to see a former colleague of mine a couple weeks ago. It was great to see him. And he recommends something like this too. Everyone says networking is important for your career and if you're doing a job search. And again, as I like to say, connection. Well, how do you track it? You need some type of KPIs. We know that what we can measure, we can manage what we measure. So we need to manage our connection work. And the way we do it is by measuring. So that's the whole purpose of this sheet, is to help you measure your connection work. So you know what works and what doesn't work, right? And it'll really help you a lot. So you can use the sheet going forward, all right, and tracking your connection activity. And then just start with connecting for 5 minutes a day. Even if you have a super busy day, if you can just block out that 5 minutes a day and try to make it for a set time every day. Maybe it's right after lunch. At one point, I was going down to work at a client site twice a week in the city. And I would commute down. I commute on this really comfortable bus, and it was great. It had Wi-Fi. So I was able to do my daily LinkedIn work on the bus on my way to work and on my way home. It was great, but you have to find the time that works for you. I also mentioned yesterday, instead of watching the news, which I do not do because I feel that it sucks my energy. It's not positive. It's not good for me. I do like LinkedIn because I feel it's professional. It's a good source of information. So I do also go to LinkedIn to get content and get updates on what's going on in the business world, because I like that, and general updates in the news, just so I'm generally aware. But again, you have to find what works for you. Okay. So that's really, really important as well. Okay. And here is my LinkedIn checklist for you. If you are doing a search, you really want to be on LinkedIn. Okay. And if you're not doing a search, you still should be on LinkedIn. And you may have questions. Well, Christine, what does that mean? So I was giving you some tips, like you could be on LinkedIn. If you can't be on it every day, maybe start with 3 times a week. Try to do something that you can commit to doing something small and consistent, right? But if you are doing a search, think of your profile as a landing page. And it has to reflect your personal brand, especially the top hat. Right now, many people, many recruiters and hiring managers are on LinkedIn and they're searching for you. They're scouring LinkedIn. They're trying to find you, and you want to help them find you, but you only want to be found for the right opportunities. So that's why it's so important that your profile reflects who you are and what you're up to, your brand. Okay. So when your LinkedIn profile is fully optimized for your brand, and I work on this with my clients, this is one of the many things that we do when we work together in my program, is to really maximize their profile so it's coming up in those searches that for the opportunities my client is interested in. And also too, their name is more at the top of the list than the bottom, right? So you want to be as close to the top as possible. And then when they click on your name, like when they look at it, they only see the first top of your profile before they scroll down. They may not scroll down, but we want them to scroll down. We want them to reach out to you, to have a conversation. That's what our call to action is for you. So we want them to reach out. But if you're not reflecting your brand, if you're not sharing who you are and how you provide value to others, then they're not going to reach out to you. So again, think of your profile as your landing page that reflects your personal brand. You want to make sure your profile is current, that you're updating it periodically, having a professional headshot, again, that reflects your brand. And you can even get feedback on that. There is a free website that you can go to. It's called Photo Feeler, to evaluate your LinkedIn profile for free. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat. Again, it's Photo Feeler. And you can, why am I not, for some reason, I'm not able to put it in the chat. Maybe because I'm sharing my screen. Well, when I stop my screen share, I'll be sure to add that. But again, it's Photo Feeler. So just photo, the word feeler, Feeler. If you just Google that, oops, we're not ready for that slide yet. You'll be able to get feedback on your headshot. Your current connections, you want to really look at those and make sure that they're pretty up to date. If you haven't talked with someone in years, or you look at your connections and you don't even know who that person is, don't have them in your connections anymore. When was the last time you went through your connections? That's important to do. And like I have a session with a client tomorrow, and we're kind of going back to the basics on, all right, let's review the connections too. Let's make sure we review your current connections. And we're looking at who those people are, in addition to making new connections too. Okay. Your recommendations are great because they're a way to share your value and to communicate that from another party. It's just that to get to your recommendations, they have to scroll down scroll down on your profile, or they're more at the bottom. So you need to keep that in mind. Your banner photo is at the top, and that's a great visual way of communicating your brand. The easiest way to communicate your brand is visually through a picture. Don't discount your banner photo. And please, please, please do not have a generic LinkedIn banner photo. Get rid of that. That is blah, and that tells me nothing about you. Don't do that. Yes, there may be some recruiters that don't care and that's great, but don't take the chance. Don't take the chance. And it's super easy to replace it. It really is. And I help my clients with that. You can go to Canva and it's free, get a better banner photo there, super easy. But you don't want to just go with the generic LinkedIn banner photo. No, 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 no. Your about section is a great place for you to share your story. And it shouldn't be like your resume. Your resume is in third person. I prefer when your about section is in first person. It's about you. You are a human being. You are a multidimensional human being. LinkedIn is the platform for you to share how your entire brand. Okay. So think about that. And then also too, if you feel your connections are too low, that's something else you can work on that. I don't think that there's a set number of perfect connections. I will say it doesn't matter if you have over 20,000 connections. Like I have over 20,000 connections, but what really matters is what am I doing with those connections? It's kind of like knowledge. I was talking yesterday. It's not how much knowledge you have, it's what you do with it. And it's the same thing with your LinkedIn connections. It's like, what do you do with it? Well, this is my LinkedIn checklist on the important things for to hit upon that you really should have when you with your LinkedIn profile. All right, now I'm going to talk about my program here with you, but I wanted to make sure I shared with you, I've got some exciting news. I'm very excited about this because I actually have 3 bonuses for you. So my 2 bonuses are, we're going to have a bonus session tomorrow. And then the other bonus is we're going to have a bonus session on Friday. So, and those sessions will both be recorded as well. All right. So because I know I'm springing this on you, it is a surprise, but I would love for you to be there in person, because I think if you can't be there in person, you will get more out of it too. Because tomorrow's session is a Q&A session. So any questions that you have right now, I'd like you to put them down and then attend tomorrow's session. Okay. If you can't attend tomorrow's session, and it will be at the same time, so at 12 p.m., and it's also going to be at the same Zoom link, right? If you can't attend the session, email us your questions, or if it's easier, you can also put them in the Facebook group, right? So, but we want to answer your questions, anything, and I'm also going to go over past questions that people have had as well. So that's what tomorrow will be. And then Friday, if there are any more questions, we can cover those. But Friday is going to be kind of a summary and a wrap up. And where do you go from here? What do you do? Like I've given you a lot of information this week, but how do you take action? Like, what's the best way to start taking action and, really getting the results that you want from what we covered. So this is my program that I've talked about before and that I've alluded to. And so it has the 3 keys of reflect, plan, and connect. And it's kind of in this triangle, but it isn't linear really, because it's more like a cycle. Okay. And again, you're going back and forth between all 3 of these. All right. And the whole purpose of this is to really get out of the work dissatisfaction trap that we sometimes fall into. We can all experience this, whether it's a sudden job loss, maybe not really having the work that we want. Maybe it's a toxic work environment. Maybe it's a boss who we just don't fit with, we don't connect. Maybe it's a team that we're on, our coworkers aren't carrying their weight. Maybe there's not the opportunity for us to really make the impact that we know we can make. We feel in our bones. We know we can do so much more. So that's the work dissatisfaction trap. So we get out of there by reflecting and planning and connecting, and that way we're more on our way to work that is fulfilling and is aligned with our purpose. So when we're in this work dissatisfaction trap, I mean, we can be overwhelmed and stagnant. We can be stuck. We can really be confused at times. It's like, okay, where do we go? And we really want to break out of those things. And we want to be fully engaged in our work so we can really contribute and make an impact. But we get that with being present and having clarity. And then we feel more calm and more confident. We feel a lot more grounded. So my program, I started to talk about it. I wanted to kind of explain too. I mentioned that there is funding that is available. But I guess my first question before I go into that is, do you see value? Do you see value in what we've covered so far? Do you see value in this work? I definitely do. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't see value in it. And again, the whole value in it is we spend so much of our time at work making a living. And I shared an article, and it is going to be in the resources that I provide to you. It's an article where Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, is quoted, and I posted about it today too, that the number one investment is investing in yourself. And then the article goes on to say that Warren Buffett is like, you're silly if you're in work that does not align with your purpose, that you don't enjoy. And think about it as maybe an enjoyment measure or an enjoyment meter. So if you rate your enjoyment in your work and your fulfillment like a 5, why can't it be a 10? Why can't it be as high to a 10 as possible? Because when that's the case, then you're most likely making more of an impact too. So again, that's the value of this work, where it's aligned with your purpose and you are making that impact. So anyway, my program is, let me give you the details, because I think many of you, again, I think I mentioned earlier, we had almost 200 people register for this masterclass, which is the most that we've ever had, and we'll continue to be doing this. But I only have a limited number of coaching slots because my program is one-on-one coaching. It's not a group coaching program. Many coaches have that. I may be offering that in the future, but right now I'm only doing one-on-one. So as you can imagine, since I do one-on-one coaching, I only have so much time in the day. I only have so many slots. So right now I have a limited number of slots. I only have basically 3 slots that are open. Okay. But I'd like to offer one of those slots to you if you do see the value in this program. Okay. And the other thing too is that I mentioned that I do offer funding. So funding is available. It's not through me, it's through this awesome third-party funding company that I found that was recommended to me by my coach. So I really appreciated that she provided that. So that was great. So I'm going to go ahead. I will share the numbers with you on my program too, because I want you to have that. I want you to have that information. Okay. So my program, again, one-on-one coaching. In my program, if you find value in this, if you feel that you can really benefit and we would work to have you get a great return on your investment here. It's not just an investment of money, but it's also an investment in your time and your energy. So you really need to be ready for it and ready to invest those things too. It's kind of like an MBA, think about it that way. All right. My program is for a year. And you may be like, gee, I don't know. I don't know if I can make the investment. And I'm glad that you would be thinking about that and really taking it seriously, not being flippant about it. And because I think we've all been there too, when we've invested in things and then we didn't use them, even like buying a book and not reading it. That's not good. And that's not what we want to hear. I will say this, think about where you're going to be a year from now. Okay. The time is going to pass no matter what. The time will pass no matter what. So you will either be in a better place in your work, in happier, more fulfilled, and making more of an impact, making more money, and just being a lot happier with less stress a year from now. Or you'll either be in the same situation that you're in right now or worse. So those are the options. And remember, when you have an issue or a problem, if you don't do anything about it, it typically gets worse. And that is a choice to not do anything about that problem. It typically gets worse. I've been there. I have done that. It doesn't work. So think about that. Seriously consider that, because this program is a commitment. Okay. So how does it work? If you are doing a job search, we really focus in the first 90 days for you to land your next ideal role in 90 days. We're very focused, and we have weekly Zoom calls where we are working on that and to get that result. We jump right into your LinkedIn profile to make sure it's reflecting your brand. We jump right into your resume to make sure that's reflecting your brand, as well as your cover letter, that it's really communicating who you are. And then also even your cover letter and your email communications, all of those things. Okay, so we're doing that. We're definitely doing that. And if you don't have the clarity on those things, we work to get the clarity, right? And then we also formulate our plan. What is our plan? Do you want to have 3 to 5 offers at the end to evaluate? And like, what industry are you targeting? What types of roles? That's part of our plan. Okay. And then executing on that plan is the connection piece. So really helping you to do that connection work and connecting with the right people, the decision makers, the right people who are the hiring managers for those roles that you are targeting. We are doing those things in that first 90 days. Okay. And you might be like, well, Christine, what happens if I don't land a role? I mean, I can only do so much for you. I am working very hard. I do have skin in the game because I want the best testimonial from you as my client. I want you to be singing from the mountaintop saying, you must work with Christine. You can't do a job search without her, or you can't have a great career without her. That's what my goal is. I show you the how. I'm a coach, a teacher, and a mentor to you, a guide. But at the end of the day, I can't do the work. You have to do the work. You have to be the one doing the work. You're the one sitting in the interview. So I show you how, and you have to take what I show you and take action on it. You have to do it. But if you don't land a role within 90 days, I'm not going away. I'm still there to help you and work with you until you get that role. Once you do land the role, I still don't go away because it's a year program. Starting a new job is one of the most stressful things you can ever encounter in your life. It's exciting, it's wonderful, but it's up there on that list. It's next to like death of a loved one or moving, those stressful things that we encounter in our lives. So it's definitely up there. And I'm there to help you get up to speed in your new job because your first 6 months to a year is instrumental. So I'm there in the beginning, helping you and supporting you to get through that learning curve and to make an impact sooner rather than later to accelerate your learning curve. So I'm there to support you. We don't do weekly sessions at that point. We pivot to more like monthly sessions, and we can even transition to it based on your needs. But I am there to coach you and support you still as you get up to speed. So all of those things are included in my program, and also my network, being able to access my network because I have an extensive network within human resources. Also, as I was saying, your search documents, if you are doing a search, if you are not doing a search. So that's the other thing. Many of you are not doing a search, but you're here because you don't know what that next step is. What is my program then for you? So for you, in the first 90 days, we're working on identifying what that next role is for you. What is I like to think of it as your base camp one goal. What should we be working toward? Okay. So that's doing the reflection work, and putting together a plan to how are you going to get there? Okay. So that's for you. That's what we do in that first 90 days. And then for the rest of the year, because again, my program is a year program, then it's like, okay, supporting you in taking action in that. Is it taking action in a job search? Maybe not. Maybe it's just reaching out to your connections. Maybe it's broadening your network. Maybe it's expanding your impact in your current role. Maybe it's, being a better leader and doing some things differently in your current role. We look at how you can do that. So that's essentially the program for you. Okay. So yeah, so there's as demand has gone up in my program, my pricing has increased, but because of this masterclass, I'm very excited. And also too, because of the funding, I'm very excited to offer you some additional options, which is great. So the full value of my program is it's valued at $8,250 for this 1 year coaching. Okay. However, because of the masterclass and what I can do, you can participate, you can enroll in my program. Now, you do have to apply for it. So that's why that one-on-one phone call is important with me. I need to make sure that you are a match. I wouldn't want you to invest in this unless you are able to make the commitment of time and energy and money, and that it works for me as well. I mean, we're making a commitment to each other. So that would be important. But your cost, if you're ready to enroll, because I only have 3 slots available, your cost would be $5,500. So that's almost a savings of $3,000. So it's, so it's just under $3,000. So that's huge savings that I'm very excited to offer you today. However, you would have to enroll within definitely by Friday by midnight. So this is only in effect if you were to enroll by Friday at midnight. Okay. Now, so yeah. So if you want to take advantage of that, but then the other thing you might be like, well, Christine, right now I have some financial constraints. That's where the funding comes in, because the funding can give you flexibility that hasn't always been available. And don't think of it as financing. Financing is like more, think of that as like for a car, when you buy a car, that's a liability. Okay. This is an asset because you're investing in yourself and you are your number one asset. Okay. So that's why it's more funding. Or think of it like when you're getting an MBA, if you were to get a loan on that, that's really more funding. That's not really financing. Okay. Because this is an asset. You're investing in you and your work. Okay. And that would be a monthly payment of $270 a month for 2 to 3 years. If you wanted it to be over a longer time frame, I think you can elongate it, but you also have the flexibility to, if you do get funding and then you're able to pay it off sooner rather than later, you can, and there's no penalty with that. So, yeah, so that's a really nice thing. And that's why I like the funding very much. I think it's a great option. So yeah, and I want to stress that, we want to make sure that you're a good match. I'm not trying to sell you something. I want to work with you. I want to help you. But of course you'd have to apply with me. We have to make sure that it's a win-win situation. We want to create win-win situations. That's really important. So yeah, so that's my program and that's my overview on it. And I also want to talk about this briefly. So this is really a great illustration of the magic of connection. It's Seabiscuit. So if you haven't watched the movie, watch the movie, but the book is even better. And it's a great example. There were these 4 entities: Seabiscuit, the horse, his jockey, Red, his manager or trainer, and then his owner. So those 4 entities on their own, they really didn't amount to much. Okay. They were kind of struggling. They had their issues, but when they came together, it was magic. It was amazing. And that's the beauty of connection. And even when you and I work together, I want to, by us working together and collaborating, to really help you have your work at the next level. Got to check out that book. It's amazing. So don't forget, in the workbook, again, the tools that are in there, check those out, like do that. And then don't forget, we have our bonus session tomorrow for your questions and answers. And then I'll start putting it all together for you. And then Friday will be our wrap up. So super excited to do that. I'm going to go ahead and stop my share here. And then, yeah, I really appreciate everyone's time here, and put your questions in the Facebook group for tomorrow, or you can also email us your questions as well. All right. It's great to see you, and then have a great day. Thank you.